It's supposed to feel.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to NS9 Live. Your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we got Tyler. We got Jim. We got an action-packed night for you guys today. Before we get into all the Pirates news, how are you all doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm
just going to put it out ahead of time. I had a bad day. I had some problems with authority today. So if I come off as angry and I question authority in the Pirates organization, just deal with it.
Well, we appreciate you setting the tone, giving us a disclaimer of why today you're angry opposed to every other day that you're angry. But, you know.
You're welcome.
So you're saying you didn't have a good day?
No. Not good.
But, like, define good. Define not good.
When I am like yawning at 5 o'clock because I've spent so much time being angry, I'm like a fussing baby at that point. Like I fuss so much that I'm tired. I need a nap.
Tyler, Jim's trolling.
Well, that's how angry I was.
Just chill.
I'm just saying that's how I was there. It was 5 o'clock. I was yawning. I felt like a fussing baby. I was so angry at everything that I just needed to go take a nap. It was my nap time.
See, so normally I do take a nap like right around 5:30. No nap today. So I'm going with no nap right now.
Do you have
what
any
adult takes a nap?
Me.
Yeah, I have not taken a nap.
8 hours a day and doesn't go to bed until 3 a.m. most nights.
Well, that's just stupid. I haven't taken a nap in like 10 years.
Right.
You're missing out.
My body is not capable of napping.
Some days I struggle.
Sleep is a waste of time, so napping is even extra waste.
I love sleep.
No, I'm with DiNardo. I hate sleeping, which is why I go to bed so late.
Right.
I love it.
But sometimes I need a nap in the middle of the day.
But then you defeat it by taking a nap.
Yeah.
Just drink some
water. But I drink too much alcohol, so that makes me tired.
Well, yeah.
That doesn't.
And then if I don't get enough sleep, that's the only time I'll nap is that if I drank too much the night before and I wake up early, I'll get a good nap in. Or if I day drank. Those are the best naps.
I can somewhat understand that. That's induced by some other means, not just you saying, hey, I want to take a nap.
Yeah, that's not possible for me.
Right. Speaking of naps.
Bucko Mike posted.
Yeah, 13 to 52, 13 singles, 10 Ks.
10 Ks. Oh, wow. That's bad.
Not too bad.
That's bad.
God.
You know what also is really bad? Jack Suwinski's latest stretch of baseball. Do we want to get into that first? I guess before we go there, do we want to kind of just get into this first? Because to me, this is like the hottest, the latest off the presses type of news. I mean, Jack Suwinski's been pretty bad. And as Tyler and I talked on one of the post-game shows, is why you throw a little bit of caution, right? When you want to talk about Jack Suwinski is really, really good. He's the mainstay of the Pirates right field, and he should be extended in all this glory. And right now, he's league average as a corner outfielder. He's been struggling. And it was announced today by Jason Mackey that he will be optioned. A lot of hugs. It's going to be optioned. And as it turns out, it's not so much because of the performance, guys. I mean, you could make an argument performance-wise, maybe he should go down, right? Work on some things. But according to Jason Mackey's source, it was deemed that he was going to get sent down after the Brewers series, which, mind you, the struggles were going on, but it wasn't as this deep and intense with it. So he was going to be sent down anyways because after the Brewers, but because of the Reynolds injury, that was put on hold for a bit. So I ask you guys, because it seems to me this pretty much justifies that it was nothing to do with performance at that time. What are your takes about Jack Suwinski going down to AAA, I presume?
I'll start.
Please do.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in a rough stretch. There's no denying that. What is he's like over 27 or something like that. He went 0-for-1 today, I think. So yeah, in a rough stretch. But if you look at the total body of work, first off, I mean, let's look at like every category across the board. Wins above replacement. He's the third best player on the team behind Brian Hayes and Brian Reynolds. Brian Reynolds is on the IL right now. Therefore, Jack Suwinski has been your second best player for this entire season. Let's take just hitting versus right-handed pitching. Right-handed pitching. Daniel Vogelbach leads the team. Brian Reynolds is number 2, and Jack Suwinski is number 3. So I get that he's had some recent struggles, but he's shown really throughout the course of the entire season that he's capable of playing at the major league level. And when you look at just what the Pirates have available to them, he's better than all these people who they are keeping on the roster, right? Therefore, he deserves to be on the major league team. And now this is like there's going to be even more things that happen because of this, right? Like Ethan already brought up on Twitter, like if he gets sent down, he loses his full year of service time. Like he was going to get a full year of service time this year. It's now gone because of this.
And that's why. So I have a comment. I just want to interject here. So we have a comment saying that has nothing to do with service time, and I do want to bring that up, like you said. Mm-hmm. To your point and what Ethan said, just to clarify, he's been down for 19 days. You have to be down for 20 or more. Well, if you're down for 20 or less, I should say, then you get a full year service time.
Right. And here's the thing. I don't think this decision has anything to do with service time. I don't think.
I mean, by one day, I don't need to have him down there by one day for
I don't
that
think
extra year.
He's a guy that you're manipulating service time for. That's all. But it's just another thing, right? That like Suwinski clearly shows he deserves to be on this team over a lot of the guys on the team. He's been the third best hitter in the lineup against right-handed pitchers who you're going to see like 2 out of 3 games. So you just sent down your third best weapon right against righties. And now, just like I said, the service time thing is just something on top of it. I agree with Anthony there. Like it's just a coincidence really that it just kind of turns out this way. But it is another thing where, yeah, it's not a part of this decision, but it's a real thing that affects Jack Suwinski, right? And so you brought up this guy. He's done everything that you've asked him to do. He's been the third best player on this team up to this point, and now you are sending him down, and you are punishing him by losing that year of service time. That's a big deal, and he's not going to get it now. I'm not happy with the decision. I get he's been struggling. I get it, but so has everyone else. Like there's a lot of bad players on this team, and Suwinski does not deserve to be the guy to be sent down right now.
Ty.
Jim hit on a lot of points I have wanted to make. But at the end of the day, this team is just taking your head, rolling it back, open your mouth, and taking a shit right down your throat. That's what they're doing to you right now. You cannot tell me on any freaking planet that Jack Suwinski doesn't deserve to be on this major league roster. They hit Yoshi Tsutsugo clean up almost every freaking night at this point. They hit Josh Van Meter leadoff yesterday. And you're going to send a league average hitter down? For who? Greg Allen? A guy that's never been a productive major leaguer in his life. Ben Sherrington has been an absolute joke since he's gotten here. And I'm tired of everybody walking on eggshells about it. He has done nothing productive to add to this team. Nothing's probably strong. But right now I'm angry because I've been angry all day. But back to the Jack Suwinski point that I like to take us off the rails. I'm sorry, guys. Jack Suwinski, as Jim said, has been one of your most productive major league players. Not to mention, this is a team that has no outfielders. We've watched Diego Castillo fall over himself trying to catch a fly ball. Anybody watch the play he made today? That was a diving catch where he fell over himself 3 times. He's not a right fielder. It's not his fault. They're just playing him in right field because they refuse to have anybody out there. They only have like 10 of them in the minors. But we got to watch Diego Castillo try to learn it. We got to watch O'Neal Cruz try to learn left field in the minors when they've got a handful of guys that they should be giving shots. But no, we got to deal with Jake Marisnick. We got to deal with Ben Gamble's playing well. We got to deal with Diego Castillo out there and whatever other crap they're going to throw out there. I'm tired of it.
So to add on to a lot of your points, what was our first impression of Jack Suwinski when he came up? You know what? We didn't expect much from Jack Suwinski to begin with. I mean, we were debating on he was going to be on the 40-man or not, right? He was. When he first came up, we said, you know, what's nice is he looks comfortable at the plate. The results aren't there, but he actually looks like a major leaguer. You know, he feels comfortable at the plate. He has really good at-bats, goes really deep in the count, you know, a lot of times. Like, he looked good, but the results weren't there. And, like, I specifically remember one night, it was you and I, Tyler. It was probably a Thursday night as well. Jim wasn't on. And we said it. And as everything always happens, you know, the time we, like, draw a line in the sand, the opposite comes. But you and I said, like, listen, I like Jack Suwinski. He looks good. But the results aren't there. And at some point, results have to come. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him sent back down at some point. And that's when he took off. That's when he really, really took off. And you're seeing, like, the Jack Suwinski of 2022, you know, a few weeks ago. To break him down month by month, right? Way to run created plus. So when he first got called up, ended the month of April, -21 rate of runs created plus. Like we mentioned, like he looked good, but production-wise, he was terrible. When you go into May, he had a 95 way to run created plus. When you go to June, 152. What I'm saying here is he has improved month over month. He looked comfortable. He looked okay, but the results were there. The results came. And again, if we're talking about July 4th, he had what, 122? Is that about like his 22% above league average? We're just talking days ago, right? Just less than 2 weeks ago, basically a little more than a week ago. Jack Suwinski was like 22% above league average. Yes, this has been a struggle for him these past, you know, week and a half, I guess you could say. Yes, he's been really, really bad, but I'm not really taking these few, I keep saying few, but you know, week and a half of games and saying, okay, that's it. He's got to go back. He's got to go down. Like this is part of the development. Like we talk about with Cruz and other minor leaguers or prospects, you know, they come up. Like you're going to have these points. This is what the 2022 Pirates are all about. Getting these kids up here, finding their struggles, finding their way, becoming major leaguers. So to me, sending him down now outside of, as the message here, as we're talking about him, the reason he should be sent down and whatnot is because what have you done for me lately? What has Yoshi done for us ever? What has Jack Van Meter done for us ever? Like, what has Diego Castillo been? I get the hype from spring training, but like he hasn't really carried over. Like, there's plenty of options out there right now if you want to talk about the what have you done for me lately. So once again, why Jack Suwinski? Why from a position that you have zero depth in, that you're already throwing out middle infielders, like you said with Diego Castillo, that can't play, and now you're taking away another really good defensive option in the outfield. So you're left with Gamble, Diego Castillo now. Like those are your starting corners.
Oh, Greg Allen when he comes up because he's done so well in his career. The guy that has like a career
29-year-old, 666 plate appearances for your career.
Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head there with, I don't care about Jack Suwinski's over 30 stretch. You've got a handful of guys that have been terrible baseball players for 5 years. And what have they done for anybody lately? Nothing. Because they're bad baseball players. They don't, if they got DFA'd tomorrow, they're not getting picked up. If Yoshi gets DFA'd tomorrow, he's in a minor league camp or he's going back to Japan. He's not playing anywhere in the MLB. If Josh Van Meter gets DFA'd, he might get picked up, but he'll be gone in 10 days if somebody's hurt. That's the only way he gets picked up. They've got a handful of guys that could go any day. But you're going to send the one productive outfielder right now that you have, because in Ben Gamble's defense, he hasn't been healthy. But Jack Suwinski is the one productive outfielder right now that's healthy that's played this year. And you're going to send him down and you're just going to trot out whatever shit show you got.
Jim, I mean, just I'm waiting on
Yeah,
you.
I already said.
Okay.
It's one of those things where there are other people who I would rather not see on this team, and Jack Suwinski is pretty far down on that list. And like I said, it just goes back to, we've been talking about it this whole time. It's a player-centric culture. It's a player-centric culture. You should be rewarded for playing well. You should be held accountable for not playing well. I get that he hasn't played well for 10 days or so, right? But like Tyler said, you've got other guys on this team who haven't played well for years, like literal years. So, why is Jack Suwinski the guy to go? That's all. I'm just not happy with that decision.
To someone's point too, having to check myself because Diego Castillo has been playing better. He has lately.
Like this past week or so, he's looked really good. Yeah.
So this past week or so, right?
Yeah.
Also, mind you, who does Diego Castillo hit?
Lefties.
Where the Pirates faced a lot of so far recently too.
Lefties.
Okay. So, and I'm not trying to take anything away from him ultimately, but if you want to talk about lately in short sample size, it's been a lot of lefties. It's been his forte, right? And he has been performing in that sense. But again, how about the 3 months beforehand? Like when you look at April, 71 rated runs created plus, May, 68, June, 46. He was doing the actual complete opposite of Suwinski. When Suwinski was improving month over month, Diego Castillo was getting worse month over month until this recent stretch in July where he's faced a lot of lefties and he has been hitting. Again, Jim, like we kept talking about in June. It ended up being what? 9 hits in the month of June with 6 home runs.
It was a crazy amount of he had a lot of home runs. That was literally all he did. He went 9 for June, and
right,
with 7 home runs. Yeah.
So again, but he's still here. He's been struggling pretty much all the year outside the first 2 weeks when he got 4 starts.
Yeah, pretty much all year. Yeah.
You know what else?
And I guess to the answer too, why do we get upset about roster decisions in 2022 when there's a season that doesn't matter? Results and stats, I shouldn't say stats, results and winning percentage, right? That doesn't ultimately matter. But the clubhouse matters, and the message you're sending matters. And the message that you keep stating and the message that you keep delivering are the complete opposites of each other. And again, I'm sorry. I don't know if this is, I'm not going to sit here and state this is fueled by service time, as Rowan Z and Cruz have been, even though there's also outside factors of Rowan Z that makes sense, right? But it is just one day to lose a whole year. And here it is. So again, I'm Jack Suwinski, and I understand I'm struggling. But even going 0 for 30, I'm 10 times the player as Yoshi and 30 times the player as Josh Van Meter. They're getting paid, and I'm not.
DiNardo, it's almost worse if it's not about service time, because then you're just an embarrassing, dumb franchise, and you're sending down your
they're demoting their third best player.
Yeah, that makes it worse if it's not about service time. You're just dumb. No, we're gonna
It
keep
just
Josh
irks
Van Meter
me
around.
that it just irks me. These guys are on the team and not even just on the team, but they're seeing so many starts when they're there.
Josh Van Meter hit leadoff the other day.
He's going to do it again, too.
So Suwinski is going to be optioned tomorrow. That's pretty much that. And I just have this feeling, I mean, it might not be per se, but I do have the feeling that it will be Greg Allen, which again, we're talking about a 29-year-old outfielder who hasn't stuck with anybody. So once again,
someone shoot me.
To go also back to Mackey's tweet, like what he was insinuating with that too. Like, I mean, he mentioned it's to give the veterans as much playing time. We're talking the trade deadline coming up, the value. Who? I mean, who? I know. Like, I'm all on board with Marisnik, right? I think I'm higher maybe on you guys of his trade value and what he can present and such. He's getting traded. A team will want him. Outside of Marisnik, Gamble. Who else? No one's trading for Van Meter. No one's trading for Yoshi. Maybe Kevin Newman, but I doubt it.
Quintana.
But we're not talking pitchers. That's not why you got to send down Suwinski.
Just saying.
We got to make room for a pitcher to get showcased. So who? I mean, are you showcasing Greg Allen for the next 2 weeks for a guy who had 29 years on this planet to showcase himself and couldn't do it? So who's getting showcased? Who do you need to make room for? You already have no outfielders. Marisnik and Gamble are going to get playtime with Suwinski there because that's the only 3 outfielders you have in this club. Now you're back to 2.
Well, if they don't go with Greg Allen, I really do hope that they go with Swaggerty. I don't really need to see Cal Mitchell again. I'd rather wait on that one. I'd rather see Swaggerty one more time, give him a real opportunity. I really don't want to see Greg Allen. Like that's the very bottom of the barrel that I want to see.
So Greg Allen has played 5 rehab games.
And the trainer did say they're looking at the All-Star break, but
also Greg Allen didn't play tonight for Indianapolis. Whereas Swaggerty played. Cal Mitchell did not. Bly played. Bay played. So if we're kind of going down the list,
Bly can't be up.
You're probably not playing the person who you're calling up tonight. You know, you're probably getting them on a plane to Denver. So if we're just going by, elimination here, it's probably Greg Allen or Cal Mitchell.
Both of those options make me want to throw
up. I mean, I would rather have Cal Mitchell here just because I'm not saying he has a future in that sense, but like you're not looking at Greg Allen as he'll be here on the club for 2023, 2024. Cal Mitchell has that potential, so let's get him some playtime. Like if you're going to swap Suwinski, I would rather have Cal Mitchell here, get him some major league experience.
He had it. It wasn't good.
No, it wasn't. And I mean, I know he had it, but get sent back down, get you back up here now. Again, I don't have a lot of faith in Cal Mitchell, but that's what this year is about. Getting these guys experience, getting the development. At the end of the year, you can evaluate. And he'll probably see him again next year and evaluate some more, but not seeing him isn't going to help at all.
Imagine being Jack Suwinski and getting sent down for Cal Mitchell, who couldn't hit a beach ball when he was up there. Well, you're a league average hitter. Huh. Player development. It's real good.
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing some people say like they want to see G1 Bay too, but I don't know. I don't see it happening quite yet. I could see Bay coming up after the deadline, but I'm not really seeing that quite yet.
Yeah, I agree with like that. And you said that before too. Like I just think he's not going to come up until after the trade deadline. He needs to be added to the 40-man. For some reason, they're rostering the Jack Van Meters of the world and such. They're going to continue to until who knows when. I just assume come August 1st, trades are made, 40-man roster spots are opened. He'll be added at that point, and then you could see him come up. But I don't think they're going to make a transaction to add him to the 40-man and call him up at this point in time until. But Andy says it could be Marcano.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. But I think G1 Bay is kind of a conversation for that could take a whole episode.
Well, if we're talking about G1 Bay and his merits,
they're there.
He deserves to be talked about just the same way we're talking about all these other guys, if not more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at his baseball stuff, he should be up right now.
Yeah.
He's performing for sure. Again, I just feel that the 40-man is the trick in the Pirates' eyes. Although it's not really that much of a trick to overcome. You just get rid of the baggage. Yeah. Maybe the guy that's batting 121 since his IL recall reinstatement. I don't know. Just my advice. But we did have another comment here, which I mean, I think we could definitely talk about because he's certainly been a point of conversation, especially with the three of us, but with Michael Chavis. So yeah, I mean, he has been cooling off some of lately. I know, again, he's much like Diego. I mean, he rakes against lefties. That's just what he is. I think, feel comfortable defining him. He's a platoon guy, but he hasn't been as strong against lefties lately. So any thoughts, any change in the perspective of him, or is it just, he's going off a bit?
I think Jim's the one that has the perspective because he is what I thought he was.
I mean, he is hitting the ball well against lefties. When was it? It was last night. He had a nice hit. I think it was last night that drove in a run. But I feel like he's good against lefties. He's not good against righties. That is who he is. When it comes to the first base position, he's playing it fairly well. He's doing a good job with Cruz over there at shortstop. Really, the problem, I don't think the problem is Michael Chavis. The problem is you're now having to just play him against righties a lot, which isn't ideal. The problem is not having a competent partner in the platoon for first base. Like if Chavis is hitting against righties and there's a competent option against lefties, the two are like they're working. That works. I mean, Chavis has a 124 weighted runs created plus against lefties. If you have another guy in that platoon who's doing that against righties, that's all you need. The problem, though, is he can't hit righties. So, when you need to have a complement to him. Chavis isn't an everyday player. I don't think anybody we haven't been saying that at all this whole time.
Me and DiNardo have.
So much like Gabby Sanchez was kind of a platoon guy.
Chavis isn't an everyday player. He's a platoon guy who can
I save text.
He's a platoon guy who can hit lefties. So really, you just need to find a competent complement to the first base platoon.
And I think Bucko Mike brings up a really good point there that Jim and I have talked about. The Pirates have 3 first basemen on this roster, and they have one that can actually play first base. It's Michael Chavis, and he plays. I think you were underselling it. He plays a very good first base.
I'm with Tyler on that one.
He has done
very
phenomenal
impressed
over there. The problem is that he, as everyone knows, he can't hit righties. But with O'Neal Cruz at shortstop, right now, you kind of need a Michael Chavis over there that can save him from the errors that he could make as he's developing. So right now, I'm fine with Chavis being over there. The big problem is that they don't have enough guys that can play a capable first base, and they have 2 guys that are DHs, and one's a DH that can't hit either.
So let me bring up a point to you guys, okay? Because Michael Chavis is not in the same stratosphere or conversation as let's see what Suwinski has and let's see what O'Neal Cruz has. Let these kids play and such. But he is relatively in big picture perspective. I mean, he's somewhat young. There could be a certain future with him outside of a lot like Greg Allen and Yoshi and such, right? So even though all of us kind of entered this year not thinking highly of Chavis, especially after that spring, but seeing what he's been doing, I want to see as much of him as well. Like, I've been saying, like, you want to play him as long as you can play him until he shows you he's going to fail, So like play him every day. You're playing against righties. Like, I'm okay with that because now you're finding out what he is, which again is why you're going and playing all these other kids, why you should and such, right? But so I think we're at the point now, as we mentioned, right? And I think as we're all saying here, like he just doesn't hit righties. He's really, really good against lefties. He has really impressed me against first base. And let's talk about that too. Like he wasn't really penciled in to play first base this year. He's kind of had to do it. The first base was Yoshi. And him coming, he's outstanding at first. We already know he can play second. He can play a little bit around. I'm not going to say like Sean Rod to the degree of defense, but like you mentioned, Tyler, like the defense at first reminds you of Sean Rod. It's been the best since him, So there's certainly value. I look at Chavis as just what was kind of stated here and not as a bad thing. He will be on this roster as a bench guy, as a platoon guy, but really good at that. This is a guy that you want. And I've liked everything I see out of Chavis. So we know what he is, and he's good at what he is. It's just on the 2022 Pirates, he's going to have to play a little more than he should. And that's what's going to make him look like he's not performing because he's playing more against righties now because he kind of has to because the other option is also terrible against righties, but at least he has the glove. So like it makes his overall numbers look worse than when you're putting him up for success, which is a platoon guy versus lefties.
It would be really nice if Vogelbach could play like a competent first base because then, he's your option there. Like when we were talking about Suwinski's been the third best bat against righties this year. Vogie's number one. Vogie's number one on the team. He's got like 152 weighted runs created plus against righties. He's mashing them. So like if he could just play a competent first base, then you're settled there. Then you got to find the designated hitter, right? But then you could use that DH in a way that we were kind of talking about before where you can use the DH as a way to give Reynolds an off day, Cruz an off day, right? So you can use that DH as kind of like a floating off day for your everyday guys instead of just, sitting them all together. Now they can't do that because literally the only thing Vogelbach's doing is DHing. Like I said, they've done a little bit of first base with him here lately. I'm at this point, I don't want to see Yoshi ever again. So like I am fine with Vogelbach just becoming that guy if we need to do that. Because I don't want to see Yoshi on the field one more time ever again.
And again, if you're looking like emergency type, like Gamble can play first. He has done it.
It's the easiest position on the diamond.
Thanks, Brad Pitt.
But also when you have a bad one, it shows. We've went through many years of bad first base play.
We have.
And now that O'Neal Cruz is on the roster, you need good first base play.
Definitely helps.
He has been safe from multiple errors.
Yeah.
And if you put someone that doesn't play first base there, he might kill them.
The 97-mile-an-hour dart right at his face.
Right.
That's a good point.
I think it all just comes kind of back to this roster's just really poorly constructed. They don't have righties. They have a bunch of lefties. Even through the minors, it's just all lefties. They don't have righties anywhere.
Well, we talked about this going into the year, just how poorly this roster was constructed. In particular, pitching. Like they had no pitchers in the minor leagues that were on the 40-man other than Contreras. And so that's when they needed a pitcher that first week, and then they had to call up Contreras. And then that just made them look bad because then we all saw Contreras is the best pitcher on this team. And then they just sent him down anyways to manipulate his service time. So, this roster has been a mess. There's 17 middle infielders on the 40-man roster and 3 outfielders. It was not a good job of constructing a roster this offseason. And really, a lot of it goes to like last year we acquired all these prospects, right? We acquired all these depth guys, and they're
Sometimes the
all
chat
Rule
makes me
5
laugh.
eligible. And we just had, I mean, we had to add like 9 non-major league ready prospects to the 40-man this offseason. And that just takes up space.
And that's without the Rule 5 draft.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think if they would have known there was not going to be a Rule 5 draft, we could have gone about this a different way, right? But yeah, luckily there wasn't, or we would have lost a few other guys. But yeah, that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, and again, for the same reasons, I don't blame Diego Castillo for not being a really good outfielder. He's not an outfielder, right? He's forced to play it. And it's the same reason, like, I'm not going to blame Vogelbach for not being it. I don't blame Yoshi for not being it. Like, that's 2 DHs who one was appointed to be a first baseman. Like, Yoshi's a very, very bad defensive first baseman. But really, it's not his fault. He is. Everyone knows that. But he was forced to play it. So, like these roster construction things we're talking about, like that's what kind of just boggles us to a point. But you are right, Jim. Like, I wouldn't mind at this point in time seeing Vogelbach get some plate appearances at first, take away some right-handed pitching from Chavis, and also, again, like maybe slide Gamble in there for like a game here and there. Now, of course, the problem with that is you're already down to just 2 outfielders. So taking him away from the outfield kind of, limits you also. That's why maybe having some outfielders still up on this club made some sense. Again, roster construction. Like, I just don't understand how there's just 2 outfielders, assuming there'll be 3 tomorrow when somebody comes up. But yeah, that's just what's kind of bothering us. But
this is a team that played Yoshi in the outfield last year.
I get it. And
the guy can't play first base, and he played in the outfield.
Last year is, to me, though, a little bit different because last year you had even less options because last year was truly like, this is a rebuilding club that has no talent. It was all just veterans. You don't have to play nothing but old, aging veterans that don't belong on a major league club anymore. You have actual talent that you've acquired that you might want to evaluate, get them experience, get them development for. So I'll even say last year, I don't blame them too much. But this year is different in that sense.
This year's pathetic.
Let's do this. It's now 37 minutes in. We've talked enough about Suwinski in this roster. Let's move on to some other topics. So I'll tell you what, we'll save the rotation for later. Let's put this up and go a little bit of a high note here. Let's talk about the rotation that has been pleasantly good. And all out myself, because I know Anthony's waiting to with Oscar Marin, right? And all the pitching changes, what they've done right now, these starting pitching has gotten better and such. So let's talk about the starting pitching. It's been like, 6-7 weeks now since we've seen some of these guys and change of repertoire and whatnot, this success. So what do you guys think?
I think it has less to do with Oscar Marin and more to do with we ran out of options. Let's try something else. And then it caught on like wildfire. Well, truthfully, I really think what happened was Mitch Keller decided he was going to throw the 2-seamer, and then it kind of just caught on. I don't think Oscar Marin knows what the hell he's doing. I give him 0 credit for anything.
Let me say something, and then you can go, Jim.
All right.
Because I'll be the middle person here, so you can finish off your end. I'm more on Tyler's side, right? And I've made my case very verbal, as Anthony likes to make sure he informs me of, and I'm okay with it. Because I don't know. My gut tells me what Tyler's saying as well. Okay, and like reading between the lines, Keller threw the 2-seamer in a bullpen session. He kind of liked it. They told him go see Clay Holmes to learn about it. He does that. Becomes a start. Well, he first goes to the bullpen, throws it. Becomes a starter, throws it. Like, he finds success with it. I don't know. My gut is telling me it was more of the players. But I'm not. If it was him, then good on him. But I want to know. Like, I am so desperate to know and find out. It's killing me not knowing. Because that's where I do have the problem with it. If it was the players, like, good. Great. You as a pitching coach said, this person knows it. Go find them. This person, to me, that's not a coach. As I keep saying, that's a triage service. I want a pitching coach to be my pitching coach. And that's just what bothers me. If you have to send people to all these people to go get better, then give me those people. That's who I want. So that's just where I'm at. I'll just say this, though, regardless, things are working. Things are going well, and I am appreciative of it. But I'm still unsure about Oscar Marin.
I mean,
Jimbo.
hold on. My guy, Charles Hayes Jr., calls Oscar Marin trash like every day. I'm on his side.
And he's never wrong unless he says something about us that's wrong.
It's my turn.
Go for it, bud.
All right. I mean, I think it was well documented just how bad this pitching staff was kind of the first month of the year, right? I mean, no starting pitcher picked up a win for something like 30 days. They couldn't go more than 3 innings, essentially. But, like, Jose Quintana has really been the only guy who's been pretty solid and consistent the entire season, right? He's been good. But, like, you look at the other guys. Mitch Keller, since rejoining the rotation, 8 starts. He's got a 3.86 ERA. That's the best stretch of pitching that he's had in his career.
He has a 4.15 ERA since adding the sinker, by the way.
There you go. JT Brubaker, his last 10 starts, 3.10 ERA. Best stretch of pitching he's ever had in his career. I mean, he looks like a bona fide major league starting pitcher at this point. Zach Thompson, last 10 starts, 2.74 ERA. And that's not even counting, not counting today. And he did great today.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just say all of that just happened by accident, right? Whatever happened, you got to give Oscar Marin a little bit of credit for saying, hey, he turned around the seasons of these 3 guys. These 3 guys, the start of their seasons were awful. And something happened in May for all 3 of them, completely turned around their season. He's the pitching coach. I'm giving him credit for it. I'm not giving him all the credit for it, but he deserves something for turning these 3 guys who going into the season all were question marks. And all 3 of them have been performing good to great since early to mid-May.
He gets no credit. For all I know, Mitch Keller decided he was going to throw a 2-seamer, and then he decided to go talk to Clay Holmes, and he was like, hey, you guys should try this. The only credit Oscar Marin might get out of that is that he allowed it to happen.
Okay, but you got to give him credit for that.
No, then you're just a moron.
If Ray Series,
you couldn't figure out
Series allow things to happen that like he under his watch. No, like he made people throw.
Time out.
Except
because that is where I differ, and I challenge you. What about when everyone started throwing the slider?
Well, that
like
was
that's,
Roger Beshens.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like when everyone started learning this, all the players just started kind of learning this slider and teaching them and just doing it. That didn't come from Searage. That was player involved.
Yeah, that was Twitter involved. That was Roger Beshens.
Anthony brings up
I'm just saying that's what's concerning. So I'll give you credit. At least it's happening. And I also wonder, not that this is good or bad, but it's like, hey, I've been here for 2 years. Nothing's worked. Now I'm in 2 years, 1 month. Nothing's working. Like this might be my last ditch effort of retaining a job. Much like how Neil Huntington said, this might be my last time effort of keeping a job. Let me go get Chris Archer. His backfired. Marines may be working, but I don't know if this is truly like.
Here's the deal.
Genius from Oscar Marin.
If the Pirates all of a sudden like came out this year and were good and they were winning games and they were, let's say they were in line for a wild card spot right now. Does Derek Shelton get credit?
Well, he's a
Yeah.
manager. Like they don't.
Yeah, he's okay. So he
They
gets
don't
credit.
account for him anyway.
Yeah.
Therefore, Oscar Marin gets credit for turning the seasons around.
Is the entire team going to go outsource how they decide to hit and
Maybe.
field and their clubhouse chemistry?
Just get the
No.
speed hitter. They won't have to.
Roll off like that. These three guys have all gotten better. Like they all got better, and he was the guy coaching them. He's the guy in charge of the pitchers. They all got better this year under him. I'm going to give him credit for that.
Thank you. All I did know is that Jim is giving me credit for coaching Division I pitchers in my life.
I'm giving you some credit.
I taught them nothing, but thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Either way, let's do this because we turn a good thing into a negative thing here about Oscar Marin. But like back to the pitching, okay? I can't be any more impressed. Like I liked a lot of stuff out of JT Brubaker last year. Certainly felt more of the bad stuff was him getting worn down. I mean, he hadn't pitched in years, right? But first month of this year comes out, you see JT Brubaker, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I was just wrong. I thought I liked him, much like I thought I liked Chad Cole. And JT Brubaker just ain't it. But
Not bad.
I'm fully back and more. Like what I'm seeing out of this JT Brubaker, I'm fully sold on. Like JT Brubaker looks like a legit pitcher. And this isn't just in my eyes, just complete small sample, overreaction. Like he looks like he belongs in a major league roster. I'm going to ask something else, but I'll let you guys maybe talk about him too. Like, I mean,
No, I truly do think, I think me and Jim talked about his last start. I'm okay watching him. I'm not at the point where I want him in the bullpen anymore.
very
Right now, I'm okay with him being, he's a major league caliber pitcher, and he's shown that this year. And I think at one point last year, we were on board. We thought he was a major league caliber pitcher. Then maybe the overusage came in and we thought bullpen. He's keeping the ball in the ballpark. And he's pitching well. He's pitching really well, actually. I'm okay with him being a guy in the rotation for the next 1 to 2 years, possibly. We'll see how next year goes. I'm encouraged.
I think I'm past encouraged on him. I think I've gone every start I've been encouraged. Let me see more. And I think I'm at the point where I was like, you know what? I've seen it. He is a major league pitcher. Now, where he lines up, I'm not sure, but like he's a starter.
Who's his pitching coach?
Currently today,
Oscar
Oscar Marin. Clay Holmes, actually.
Yeah.
No, I mean he's been great. Like his last outing, that was maybe the best I've seen him throw ever. 7 scoreless innings, 9 strikeouts. Like he dominated that game, and he's just been putting together like solid starts for 2 months now. Just racking them up. Yeah, I think he's absolutely a major league starting pitcher. I wouldn't like. I'm not saying he's like a number 3 starting pitcher, but like he's a number 4 or number 5 starting pitcher in the major leagues.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to. Like, I don't know where he lines up.
Yeah.
That's where we can still determine. But in my eyes, I'm done with I'm encouraged. Let's see more. He's proven enough to me at this point in time. He is a major league starting caliber pitcher. And to Tyler, like about cutting the home runs, that was, of course, his big Achilles heel. And he's cut up almost half. I mean, that's huge.
It's new baseball, so.
You do have a point there, too, I guess. Just by doing the same stuff he's doing last year, he would have cut it down by 33%. So,
But I mean, throwing the sinker, that could totally have a big part of that.
right.
You know, adding some movement to that fastball. He's getting weaker contact.
I mean,
If it is getting hit hard, it's getting pounded into the dirt.
to be fair, his ground ball rate's the same as last year, basically.
It is.
But I mean, it does. It makes the four-seamer play well, as we saw with Mitch Keller, and it does give you a bit of an out pitch. So there's, yeah, the baseball's different, but it's something in his repertoire that he does need.
So future rotation, and this kind of goes to it. So, we talk highly, of course, and much in regards of JT Brubaker. Let's talk maybe a little bit more of Zach Thompson. We can kind of answer that as well. Zach Thompson's a guy, when we, again, to admit, like we kind of hate on that trade. Zach Thompson, just a very, very late bloomer, not much. Stallings, of course, Gold Glover. Zach Thompson pretty much proved what he was to us at the beginning of the year. And now, throwing this gutter. Zach Thompson's looking pretty good. Doesn't have like the strikeouts like the other ones we're talking of, but what do you think about Zach Thompson?
I'm not intrigued.
Zach Thompson kind of reminds me of like
Trevor Williams.
When Trevor Williams was good, right? So I'm talking about like good Trevor Williams.
Yeah. Because
like,
Bryce Wilson's last few starts have reminded me of Trevor Williams.
So like when you watch Zach Thompson and you see him pitch, and I mean right now he's basically showcasing his cutter. Like that's his main pitch in his arsenal right now. And he's throwing it like 84 to 85 miles. He's throwing these 85-mile-an-hour cutters. And right now, they're not getting hit all that hard. So he's been able to kind of capitalize on that. And again, like his last 10 starts, 2.74 earned run average. So the results are all there. You look at the peripherals, and it's why his FIP is double his ERA, right? Because he's not striking people out. His walks aren't terrible, but they aren't good either. But he's getting results right now. So like at the end of the day, the results are what matters, right? If we're looking forward, I'm still not ready to like write his name in pen into a rotation spot, right? Like I'll ride this and I'll keep watching it and we'll keep throwing him out there as long as he's effective, cool. But if you kind of look at him, I don't know if what he's doing is, repeatable year after year after year, if that makes sense.
No, I'm definitely with Jim. I think right now he's a guy that I just want to eat innings for this team. I don't really care to see him beyond this year. He's just a guy. And he's doing a fine job of eating innings, but they're not pretty.
He hasn't gotten through the fifth inning in any of his last three starts, for what it's worth.
Did he go like 6 and 2/3?
Other than today.
Yeah.
Today. Yeah.
Now, mind you, I just want to, to his credit though, Jim, not that I'm backing up in like a
Josh Fogg from,
but he did come off the IL. So I'm not going to like really hound him for, only going 5 and those things. But what I'll say here, I never put that together. I never thought about it. But, you mentioned Trevor Williams and you just got my gears going and looking. And I'm like, this is such a good comp. And it's not that like Trevor Williams was terrible all the time. I mean, he was serviceable until like basically he just kind of wasn't. But I think it's a good way of putting it. Now, obviously, Trevor Williams had that outstanding second half that has made he was just godlike. Not that make Zach Thompson have that, probably will have that, but like overall big picture, that's probably how you look at him. Like he's JT Brubaker, we're kind of finding out like where he would line up. Like, not going to be an ace, of course, but like where, he's got 2, 3, 4, 5 type of thing. Like Zach Thompson, I feel like he's probably a major league starting pitcher, but like if so, a number 5, maybe a swingman type of thing. Like I don't look at him and say he's penciled in for the rotation. Like you look at the ERAs had in this stretch, the ERA is good, but like you look at other factors and stuff, it's not the best. I mean, like look right now, his ERA today is a 4.09. His FIP's a 5.44. He doesn't strike out a ton. Like you said, the walks are okay. I mean, for guys that strike out that many and such, and like you want to see the walks maybe a little bit lower, but he keeps the ball in the ballpark and such. Like he's not terrible by any means, but I don't think he has the upside anywhere near of like what you need from JT Brubaker. And it's not like JT Brubaker is an ace. So I still have my reservations. I'm still encouraged by Zach Thompson. Let me continue to see him more. Let me see how he's, finishes out this entire season. But I don't look at Zach Thompson like, okay, listen, you got JT Brubaker, got Roansy, you got Mitch Keller. Like this rotation's filled out for years to come because of Zach Thompson. Ultimately, he might be a swingman. Number 5. I would certainly want
guy. Yeah.
better in this Pirates rotation when they're winning.
I would hope so. Yeah, he's a good guy for a rebuilding club. He can hopefully eat some innings and keep you in some ball games, but he's not a guy that I plan any sort of future around.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you, both of you on that one.
So, but again, it's nice to see what he is doing because I wouldn't expected him to do this at all this year.
Yep.
So now I guess, we've talked about Mitch already. So to go back to that, like I am encouraged of this future of the rotation. This is a huge question mark. There is Roansy, who looks good when he's pitching. Health risk will always be a little bit of a concern just because of this build as we talk about. Mitch Keller's turning things around like he's back into this future. JT Brubaker's looking like he's in the future. Like there's 1 through 3 that's filled up, I think, right now you can pencil in for next year. And that's 2 more than I ever expected.
Yeah. And so if we're kind of filling this in,
4.
right? Yeah, I mean, if we're filling it in, you then look to at least add 1 outside arm, right, to a 1 or 2 year deal, at least 1, maybe 2, right? Because like I said, if you can push some of those guys who are 4th and 5th starters more to a hybrid role, then that's an upgrade to your bullpen. That's an upgrade to your rotation, right? So I still think, signing 2 starting pitchers, probably, the way to go. And then, you hope that like somebody like Mike Burrows can emerge as an option.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully someone like Quinn Priester can maybe emerge as an option. I don't think you can, but you can't necessarily count on either of those 2 right now. I mean, Burrows looks good. Don't get me wrong. Like he looks good. You want to see him maybe have some sustained success at AAA because it's only been a few games, but he hasn't really shown it yet. But Burrows, Priester are your 2 guys that you're kind of hoping pan out. And then Anthony brought up, Cody Bolton. So you've got guys like Cody Bolton. You've got Max Kranix, right? And, I know he's hurt, but, hopefully back at some point next year. Blake Cederland, another guy, hopefully back at some point, sometime. Probably not, though. At this point, he could just.
That's disappointing.
But
another step back
you
for him.
You hope that a few of these guys pan out. But yeah, the main move here is you got to add outside depth to your pitching rotation from outside the organization. But there shouldn't be any reason why they can't add at least 1, hopefully 2 arms that way.
Yeah, this goes back to what I've been preaching for a couple months. That's why Jose Quintana really needs to be an extension candidate instead of a trade candidate, because you almost have to have him next year. Like Jim said, he was talking about Priester and Burrows. The Pirates really need one of those 2 to pan out. One of those 2 have to be a major league starter.
But they need to pan out in a big way.
Yeah.
Like this team needs top of the rotation arms. They don't just need they have competent arms, right? But we don't. If you want to be a good team, you need top of the rotation arms. And right now, you're thinking, okay, hopefully Roansy can be one of those, but like you need at least 1 more, maybe 1 more.
Yeah, and I also think if you look at Roansy, I don't know that everybody looks at them and thinks top of the rotation arm.
Yeah,
when he's there, he's going to be a top road. He has everything to do it, but maybe the durability. I think I don't know what for him. I think more of like a Matt Latos type, where You're not going to really get the innings, but they're going to be really effective when he's there.
But Matt Latos is a big boy.
I'm just saying the way it worked out, where Latos was really good when he was there.
Yeah.
But he did not pitch much. So that's kind of where I'm. Hell,
Didn't
even
that
at Jameson
make that
Tyon.
crazy?
Let's
He had
just-
that crazy wife too. Was that him?
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one
The
that
wife,
fought a
he-
bunch of
she got in, like,
Pirates
fights
fans,
and
actually.
stuff. That's what we need. We need more of that. We need more player wives getting in fights.
He hates her, by the way. I don't know if I ever told you guys this. I think I might have told Tyler because this was like years ago. And I don't even know how or why, but I'm like friends with Matt Latos on Facebook.
Okay.
Like friends, not like you follow this for like
Yeah.
he's a friend of mine on Facebook. So yeah, he has an interesting life, but yeah, he does not get along with his wife.
Hey, I'm friends with John Jason's ex-wife.
Yeah.
She just had a baby.
Oh, congrats to her.
Unfortunately, not with me. Anywho,
What were we talking about?
maybe the Matt Latos comp was off. Maybe it should be better to like a Jameson Tyon.
Okay.
Where you're not going to get like 200 innings every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think about.
Much like
with
James in
Ramsey.
town, he
But
has got
it's
all
gonna
the
be good.
tools.
Yeah, it's going to be good. When he's out there, he's going to be good. They don't have a workhorse. Burrows could be that. Priester could be that. One of those two have to work out. Or they're going to have to spend money on pitching. And that's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think Priester is the one who's probably most likely to become like that prototypical workhorse starting pitcher who can throw a lot of innings just based off of his build and just kind of the way he looks. But again, you need him to become a top of the rotation guy. And so it's just a matter of time at this point. Can he develop and become that? Mike Burrows, the stuff is incredible. You kind of look at him and you hope that that's what he can be. But again, the changeup still isn't like if you want him to be a top rotation starter, the changeup needs to be very good. You need to have a good third pitch. You're not going to be an ace with two pitches. It's just you're not going to. So like the changeup needs to develop if he's going to be that number one or number two. If not, he's a back of the rotation guy, or he's just a shutdown freak reliever, right?
I don't know if I'd agree with that. I think we see a lot more two-pitch guys. As long as
Not
they're
aces.
fastball curveballs.
Not aces.
I
Name
mean, I
one.
guess like. All right,
Sorry.
so. I mean, yeah, but like even Garrett Cole, I mean, I guess he had a curveball.
Cole throws like 6 pitches,
Like 2 are good.
but they're all good enough to throw. Yeah, he's mostly fastball slider, like that's 70% of his arsenal. But
Yeah.
he still has another 30% that he throws
Curveball.
curveballs, changeup,
Yeah.
cutter. He's throwing a cutter this year.
Can Runsley be an ace?
Every one of the Yankees has done a cutter this year.
No, Jim. Can Runsley be an ace?
I think he can.
No.
I
Where's his
wouldn't put
changeup?
him there right now.
Yeah, where's his changeup?
He has
He don't
it.
got one.
It's just he can't
Yeah,
locate it
he
very well.
don't have one.
But like he has it. Like I said, in order for him to become an ace, he needs to be able to. The changeup needs to develop into a pitch.
I think you can.
Be
I
deadly.
really do think you can get away with fastball curveball. You can't really deal fastball slider because same speed. I think you can deal with fastball curveball.
You need a changeup.
Not really.
Yeah, you do.
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, I guess like you got to be able to throw it, but it doesn't have to be good.
You have
Good
to
enough.
have it, and it has to be major league caliber.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you do. Adrian Burnett. That guy did not throw a changeup in his life.
He had a really good shift behind him.
I also don't know if I'd call AJ Burnett an ace.
I wouldn't. He's a good number. He would be a good number 2. number 3 on really good teams.
I'm just saying.
But he also threw more than 2 pitches. AJ Burnett did throw a changeup.
He threw a 4-seamer, a 2-seamer, and a curveball.
And he threw a changeup 9% of the time.
Woo. That was probably just
good.
when his arm would go out.
You said he never threw a changeup in his life.
Yeah, because his arm would go out and they probably register as a changeup. Or he threw a lighter 2-seamer. And he just registered as a changeup.
He threw a changeup his entire career.
Not good.
All right. So let's move past this. So, the last big topic I guess we have is this.
Real quick, because his name's been brought up a couple times. Yajure, if we're talking about future. For me personally, I don't think Yajure is a capable starting pitcher in the major leagues. Unless the command is just pinpoint perfect, the stuff's not good enough. Except his curveball. Curveball's really good.
Curveball's terrific.
You could just throw a curve. Terrible. No, you can do that. You can be a 1-pitch guy if you got a really good curveball, as we found out. Throw 47 of them in a row.
I really did like Yajure. The velo's just not there. Curveball's great. Command's terrible. Injuries are not good. I don't even know if I see him as a bullpen guy.
Yeah, like I think he's just basically depth.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's a guy that probably could be DFA'd soon, like next year.
I'm just down on him. I really don't have any thoughts on him. Like, I'm not really looking and penciling him in anything for the future. He's just here today in my eyes.
Yep.
Like that very first start he had last year. You want to talk about a guy looking the part, as we mentioned, like how Suwinski looked the part at first, but the results weren't there. Like, he looked the part, but he didn't play the part.
The velocity's too bad. Command's too bad.
Right.
I feel bad. I think he did have some arm issues last year that probably should have been a red flag in that trade. But he's just kind of guy now.
Yeah. And speaking about this, as we talk about him, and yes, the draft is coming this week. Obviously, we will have, of course, a draft show this Sunday. We'll be definitely talking about the draft then. I guess it's not as intriguing because maybe it's just my viewpoint, but I don't think it's as intriguing because obviously they don't have the number 1 pick. So they don't have their choice. It's not like, okay, here's which one are we going to get, and every week it changes. There's also not Kumar Rocker at the top of the list, who I thought we're getting for a year, and then that changed, and some random guy from Louisville. Those stupid people that's in it. So, yeah, so we'll definitely be talking about the draft this Sunday.
Real quick, though, it seems like if we're talking about the draft, it's probably between 4 guys, realistically, right?
Thanks,
That's shocking.
And I mean, if you kind of look at everywhere, like there's a clear top 7 that are going to go like 1 through 7, it seems like. And then it's just a matter of like who's getting taken first, second, third. And then who are we going to pick, right? I mean, Drew Jones seems to be the clear-cut favorite, best player in this draft. Now, does that mean he's going to pick first overall? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to go college bat route like they have the last 2 years. They are going to go with a bat. That's already known. There are no pitchers that are worthy of a top 4 pick in this draft. But we are seeing a lot of projections for Termarr Johnson, who's a high school shortstop, likely going to be a second baseman.
That's the guy I want.
So a short second, like a 5'8" second baseman is Tyler's.
Dude, that bat is so good.
Elijah Green has a pretty solid chance, I think, of being there too. So if you're looking,
do not trust this team to develop him.
Elijah Green is probably going to be there. And then Cam Collier is probably going to be there too. So Brooks Lee, also another possibility. So it's just a matter of who they're going to go with. We're seeing a lot of connections to Cam Collier. We're seeing a lot of connections to Termarr Johnson. So I feel like those two are probably the favorite right now. I think we can scratch Kevin Parada off the list. I don't think they go catcher in back-to-back years. Yeah, so I think you can pretty much narrow it down to Collier, Johnson, Lee, and Green. It's going to be one of those four.
Well, I just find, I mean, it's very intriguing, Jim. You know, you've done your homework. The Pirates pick fourth, and it's down to 4 players. So that's good job. Analysis. But yeah, so we'll definitely be talking about the draft this Sunday. So we'll have all the information out there, but tune in. We'll all talk. Hopefully it'll be a good reaction again. But so to cap off the show, like you mentioned, we'll talk about this bullpen because apparently this is causing the civil war of Pirates Twitter this week. Is it good? Is it bad? Are those just meaningless words and we have factual information to provide to determine what they are? So I guess let's just discuss because clearly the bullpen was terrible, right? There's a lot of bad players in this bullpen. Now we've talked about the beginning of the year, you know, what really saved it is Bednar, Crow, and Dylan Peters, and then Roansy when he was in it, right? It was like those 4 guys are just saving his bullpen. They're getting all the wins when needed. Roansy gets sent down. Dylan Peters gets injured. Now, mind you, yes, the Hembrys of the world are gone, right? God, I already forgot his name with the glasses is gone in Toronto right now. Showing them how terrible.
What was the name? Bonda. That's
Bonda.
it.
Yeah. Even though he added a 2-seamer as well. I mean, his problem is everyone hits him, so he doesn't need to give up, more contact. So like those people are gone. So I guess today, where this bullpen stands, the players that are in the bullpen today, is this bullpen good? Is it just okay? Is it bad? Where do we stand on this bullpen and why?
Jim had a lot of thoughts on this, so I'll just let him go.
It's bad, you guys. I will accept below average, like as a descriptive adjective to describe them. But no, it's bad. They have going into today, just kind of throw out a few numbers. There's 87 relief pitchers in baseball with an ERA of 3 or below. 3 or below. There's 87. 87. Pirates have 1 out of those 87. Right. I don't know about you guys, but that's bad. That's not good. On average, there's 30 teams. You should have 3 of them on average. The Pirates have 1. Those are relief pitchers who have thrown at least 20 innings, by the way. They're just not good. No, they're not good. I mean, they're better than they were. Like, they're better than they were when they had Anthony Bonda. They're better than they were when they had Heath Hembree as like the 8th inning guy, right? They're better than they were.
Especially that.
But they're not good. Like, they're not good. They're not even average. Like I said, I'll take below average if you want to say that. But for the most part, they're bad.
Correct. They improved. That's really all I got to say. Like, they had to improve. They were bad.
I mean, this is a bad team. It's not a weird thing to say that the bullpen's bad. The team's bad. The bullpen's bad. This team's, 14 games under 500? Teams with good bullpens aren't 14 games under 500.
Yeah, they're not a good bullpen. Like, they have a bunch of humans that you can't trust. Like, their numbers might be okay, but there's on no planet will you trust them to go in the 8th inning in a high leverage situation. None of them, other than David Bednar and maybe an early season Will Crow. The rest of them stink.
So I guess like where I stand too.
What do you think about the bullpen?
It is bad. It's not a good bullpen. And I'm sorry if you feel that way. You can be encouraged. So let's go back to we talked about encouraged, right? Like I've been encouraged by saying JT Brubaker. I want to see more. You get some sample size. you can be encouraged by some things. We know David Bednar is good. I mean, he is the reason he's an all-star. Now, has he been that good recently? No, but it's probably because he's been worn down because the bullpen's been bad.
Yeah.
So, like, think about that. There's a reason why Bednar has to go out for 3 innings. Crow has to go out for 2. Like all these guys have to be using this way. It's because, to Tyler's point, you can't trust others. I'm encouraged by things. The bullpen has improved. David Bednar is good. Will Crow is good. After that, who do you trust? Right? We talked about Yeri De Los Santos getting more innings. That'd be good for him. Let's see that, right? And he's done pretty well most of the time. You know, at this point in time, he has a 2.65 ERA, but it's been 17 innings. Like, this is way too short of a sample size for me to say you are good. I'm encouraged. I like what I see. I know it's still a small sample altogether, but like the 4.11 FIP doesn't totally match that ERA either. You know, I mean, he does give up a lot of home runs per se, 1.6 per 9, you know? So like there are some outside factors that say, I still want to see more. Am I encouraged by De Los Santos? Yes. Am I anointing him good? No. Dylan Peters. He has done the job, but we see he's human as well. Here's the thing about Peters. You can't walk 6 batters per 9 and not be some like amazing strikeout guy. Like Kyle Crick could get away with that because he was devastating. Like he was allowing 6, batters per 9 get on base because they're all walking. He was allowing any hits. But that's not
slider
Dylan
moved
Peters.
like 80 inches.
It was ridiculous, right? Until like people just realized like, well, just don't swing, and he turned bad, But like Dylan Peters can't get away with that. So even though Dylan Peters' ERA lines up at a 3.26 right now, I don't know if I truly trust Dylan Peters. And don't tell me about Tyler Beatty. I mean, the guy's been terrible his whole career. And I get, again, talking, okay, he's got a 2.92 ERA this time. Like, yes, what he's done with the Pirates, the numbers, he has been productive for the Pirates. But do you trust Tyler Beatty?
Well, his dad does.
Okay. The Clay Holmes makes no sense. But yes, Tyler Beatty does not strike out guys. He walks a little more, again, for the same reasons. He's got a 95% strand rate. That is not going to hold up. He's got a babe up against him for a
bad.
He's not that. He's not. Oh, Peters was really bad. 178, which we know, like, no one got hits off him. Like, that's going to normalize too. But yeah, like Tyler Beatty, same thing. Like, I don't trust what he's doing. So, no, I don't look at Tyler Beatty and say, you are good. I say, Tyler Beatty, you have gotten us results. Thank you. But I guarantee you, come October this year, you're not looking at Tyler Beatty at 2.92 ERA. So outside of Crow, outside of Bednar, who do you trust to say this is good? Jim, bring up your tweet. What was that good bullpen?
Mark Melanson, Tony Watson, Archimedes Caminero, Antonio Bastardo, and Jared Hughes.
And Joe Blanton and Rob Scahill and Joaquin Soria.
Joe Blanton had a really good year that year. Yeah.
Vance Worley was real. I mean, yeah, that bullpen was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when we're talking about Bastardo, he was coming in like the 6th when Jeff Locke got in trouble. Bastardo at this point would be an 8th or 9th inning guy. That's how bad they are.
Bastardo might be the closer.
That's why I said 8th, 9th inning guy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim, for reaffirming me.
You're welcome. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Bednar, right? And we're like how like Bednar is like by far the guy that we trust the most, right? If we're comparing bullpens here and we're thinking, okay, 2013, 14, 15, Pirates had outstanding bullpens, right? How many pitchers on those teams were better than David Bednar? Like statistically speaking, right? I'm not talking about like stuff wise, but if you're looking at just like top to bottom numbers, Melanson, Watson, Hughes, Bastardo, Blanton, Scahill, Soria, all better numbers than Bednar. That's a good bull.
Let me
And
throw something a little bit different at you.
You're like the Bednar's taken a fall these last few days, and I get it. Like, and Bednar's good, right? Like, I'm not trying to bash David Bednar here, but you need multiple David Bednars if you want to be a good bullpen. Like, the Brewers are a good bullpen because they can throw out multiple guys back to back to back who, when you have a lead that you just trust, are going to shut things down. The Pirates don't have that.
In 2015, David Bednar's maybe a 7th, 8th inning guy. And whenever Tony Watson and Mark Melanson struggle, we're arguing on Twitter about Bednar being a closer. Right now, we're arguing about whether David Bednar should go 2 innings because they have
So let me
cover
just
the 8th.
let me throw this out. Let me just say it in this way, because Jimmy on a good point, but I think you could, like, you can argue, do you want Bednar or Melanson? I think there's an argument in that, right? So let's just say this. Take Bednar out. Who's number
Melanson,
2?
Like
Will
peak
Crow.
Melanson.
I'm just make this simpler, okay?
Unhittable.
Because people, young Twitter will argue with you. So put it this way.
like,
Just give this team Bednar. So start at Will Crow. That's your second best. So how many on that roster will be over Will Crow? So you're taking Will Crow, who you can argue about Bednar. He's elite. So let's get with Will Crow. He's the
Will
second
Crow's
best.
in the Genmar Gomez category at that point.
That's where I'm getting at. Like, let's make this even easier and simpler. We don't have to even argue about that much. If he's your number 2, where does he stack up against those guys? And it's clear as day where he ranks. So I think that's where we're trying to get at.
To be fair, they did
hands down, no question.
So they did mention Will Crow is on pace for like 90 innings this year.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Here's my second point with all you guys. If you're done with all of that.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. No, so I was going to say, for this team to even be in the argument of being a good bullpen, they've had to use their top 2 relievers, David Bednar and Will Crow, to get those numbers. They're number 2 and 6 among all relievers in innings pitched. So to even be where they stand, it's because they've had to use their 2 best in all these multiple innings to even have this conversation. Again, what we're alluding to. Why? Because you can't trust anybody outside of those 2.
We're literally all arguing the same thing.
I know. No, I know we are, because we're all on the same page. That's why we're letting people understand if they're right or wrong. If you're on our side, then you are right. And if you're against us, well, you're wrong. And here's why.
And I get it. It's just, I mean, when we're talking about, we've seen good bullpens, right? Like we've seen them. That those playoff teams had outstanding bullpens, and it was a big reason to the success of the teams. And so it's just one of those things where, like, when you experience those bullpens that are good bullpens, and then you're looking at this bullpen, you can't call this bullpen a good bullpen because we know what a good bullpen looks like. If your Twitter bio says, like class of 2024 in it, you may not remember just how good those teams were. I'm not picking on anybody. It's just,
I am.
You were like 12 or 11 when that happened. You just don't realize just how damn good those guys were. Like that's what a good bullpen looks like. This bullpen, again, it's better than it was. Like, they trimmed off a lot of the fat. They dumped Hembry. They dumped Anthony Bonda. Sam Howard was terrible. So they dumped all those guys. And it is a better bullpen now than it was a month ago, but it's still not good. Like, it's still not a good bullpen. So that's all. That's all.
Jim, just too many people haven't lived through the dark days of Pirates Twitter. People didn't.
And that's
They're
fine.
not
And that's fine. Like it's fine. They don't have to, but like just
Yeah, but I don't need to hear them in my ear about positivity and shit. This team has sucked my whole life. I've been on Twitter for like 15 years now. I've been through it all. I know what it's like jumping on here when Neil Huntington got hired and we were all fired up because he was getting these prospects. I know
wanna
how
stop
it
you.
feels.
I just want to stop you because before you get to the other subset of Twitter, don't tell you lived through it all because that subset will also tell you didn't live through it all. Because so
no, that
pump your
subset
brakes.
can go past salt.
yeah.
Because I have lived through it all. I was born the year that they started losing.
So you didn't get through it
I don't
all,
want
young buck.
I was born in 1993, the year that the streak started. I didn't get to watch the 79 World
Really?
You're
Series.
saying it's all your fault.
You're such a
I didn't
curse
get I
on the
didn't get to
world.
watch Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds left.
You should
and
wake
I
up
was
every day
born.
miserable.
I should. That's why I do.
All right, guys, we're
And now
roughing
we
on
just
an
got,
hour
like-
and a half.
Yeah, I know, but now we just got like 18-year-olds that are telling us to be positive and
And that's what I want to get at. Like here's the thing. Like I'm all for being positive. I mean,
I'm happy
I get
for
that
you, but-
mindset too, and I have it. Like, why choose to be miserable? We can just be happy. So you can be encouraged. Like I am encouraged too as bullpen. It's gotten better. I want to see some stuff, but do not draw a line in the sand and say this is good because it's not. It's not. I can identify it's not good, but you know what? I still am positive and I'm still having fun. But this bullpen isn't good, but that's okay for today. It better get good because the positive will end because this team needs to get good. And again, that's part of this problem is it has to get better. You have to get additions. The bullpen is such an easy way of making a team better. Go back to those teams. About like the Pirates when they were good, there was a formula. The bullpen was it. Like there was a reason this team won a lot of games is because that bullpen was so damn good. And for the Pirates, it's so damn easy to build and create such a cheap product. And the bullpen to help you succeed, right? The Royals, same thing. So it's like it's so easy. I'm not gonna say easy, but it's so cheap to do it. But this bullpen ain't it. And I'm sorry, it could be. Let me see more of De Los Santos and such and find out what he is. But I'm not claiming him to be good because he's pitched 17 innings in the major leagues. I mean, I don't care how old you are. Don't be that naive. You've seen enough, especially in this little bit of a rebuild from the Pirates. 17 innings, you're going to claim someone to be something? No, don't do it. I promise you, you will look stupid. I've looked stupid, and it's been longer than 17 innings worth of information.
I remember me some Mike Williams.
Mike Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was an all-star, like with a 6-something ERA.
It sucked.
Like at least Bednar's not the token all-star because of that. Like at least Bednar is proving himself to be good.
Hey,
so
We don't
can
have an
hang on to
Evan
that.
Meek token
Yeah,
all-star.
Meek was another one. Yeah.
he had a good year.
They had Andrew McCutcheon on the team.
Right. But Evan Meek had that one good year.
They had Andrew McCutcheon on the team.
It's okay.
But
Team has
back
Brian Reynolds.
just very, very quickly back to the bullpen stuff. We'll discuss that, I'm sure, after the trade deadline and our Ben Sherrington podcast that I am going to push us to have.
Sounds good.
Cheers on that one.
Yeah. Can't wait for
All right.
the deadline podcast.
So any last words before we get out of here?
I'm excited for the draft.
I am too.
I am too. Yep.
That's all I'm excited for.
All right.
2 first-round picks this year too.
Yeah.
Give me DeMar
All right.
Johnson or bust.
Well, technically, I don't think it's 2. It is. Yeah. Yeah. Never mind.
Johnson or bust.
Well, we'll wrap it up. appreciate everyone for watching. So once again, if you are still here, go ahead. If you haven't, like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, do all that good stuff. We'll be here Sunday for the draft. Hopefully it's a positive show. We can come out happy like we were last year and get some good vibes going. So until then, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Cyber Scouts.
See you guys.
Later, guys.